Greetings and peace. Today we have two documents regarding the Moors from the early 1800s. The first one's a little hard to read, so please bear with me. Antidote of the Moorish Emperor Muley Abdullah. An enthusiastic Muslim supplicated as a proof of loyalty and a means to conciliate the Prophet to be permitted to kill a Christian. Muley, smiling at the request, promised that the following morning an unbeliever should at an arbor in an adjacent garden wait for the saber of the Moor. The zealous hastened at the appointed hour to slay his expected victim, but the augmented speed returned to acquaint the emperor that the Christian was armed like himself, to which the chief replied that his permission went to fight and kill, not to murder, and that neither the cause of heaven nor his sovereign could be promoted by persecution. So this brother was practicing religious tolerance, The Moor wanted to fight this Christian, so he said, go fight him. But that Moor wanted to just slaughter him, you know what I'm saying? So, honors to this Moor for saying, hey, if you want to go fight that Christian, you're going to go fight him, but it's going to be fair. And that's why, neither the cause of heaven nor his sovereign could be promoted by persecution. Basically, go fight that Christian, but if he slaughters you, man, he's not going to be persecuted because it's fair. You know what I'm saying? So as far as practicing religious tolerance or whatever, people speak so openly against Noble Drew Ali. And again, I've seen pale Arabs, just for saying one sideways thing about Muhammad, they'll fight you and they'll beat your ass, and then you call the police and nothing happens. But that's the way it is with me. Someone around me says one sideways thing about Noble Drew Ali, man, I'm popping off, and there's not going to be no repercussions, man. I'm going to protect my prophet until the death, but I'm not going to go out and try to slaughter like this Moor did. We're going to go to the other article, but I really wanted to stress the fact, these are early 1800 newspapers. However, all the way to the 1900s, the mid 1900s, Noble Drew Ali was opening up newspapers and seeing them speak about the Moorish Empire. Ferocity of the war in Morocco. This is 1860. According to the correspondent of the London Times, the war in Morocco is waged with savage barbarity on both sides. It is positively stated and believed in camp that the Moorish emperor grants $1 for every head and 4 for every live Spaniard brought in. We are not aware that any $4 premiums have yet been granted. The galley slaves, who have been armed and who fight desperately and have had a good many killed and wounded, have been promised $1 for every live Moor they bring in. That's the modern police and sellouts. And they go out of nights on the prowl in hopes of captures. Although the much higher price offered by the Moorish government for living than for dead would serve to indicate a desire to humanize the war, it has hitherto been carried in entirely without quarter. The Moors began in that way with a system of pitiless slaughter, and the Spaniards have been aspirated almost to ferocity by this, and now scrupulously follows their example. Hitherto, we have not brought in a single prisoner. A very few have been made but killed by the soldiers before they got into camp, at which General O'Donnell were very wroth. The soldiers say that the Moors will not let themselves be taken, that they fight desperately until killed, and that this is very likely to be the case in the majority of instances. But it is difficult to believe that some captures, although only of men wounded, might not be made. The Moors, they say, lie down and will not rise, and their obstinacy provokes a bayonet thrust. That's exactly what Noble Drew Ali said. Moors, you ain't going to listen except by the point of a sword. They might, one would think, be bound hand and foot and be carried in, and it is not impossible that useful information might be extracted from some of them. Mercy in war is not, however, one of the most conspicuous qualities of Spaniards, and moreover, there are tales and traditions current of horrible cruelties which the Moors are in the habit of inflicting on the enemies. Well, they're enemies, so what's the problem with that? I mean, if you're colonizing, stealing birthrights, and doing all this craziness, man, and you get in their hands, it is what it is, right? In fact, the war has at its outset assumed the most sanguinary and ferocious character. I believe any Spaniard would prefer death to falling alive into Moorish hands. So if we're speaking of sanguinary and the Moors' land was being occupied and colonized, you can't blame the Moors for fighting back when they're getting backed into a corner, man. So that is what it is, brothers and sisters. And again, I'm glad that this article came up because speaking about being left in Moorish hands, like when the Moors are on top and all the Europeans are getting put on boats or they're under the subject of Moors, there's going to be two things for me. Either a faithful Moor is going to see me before I get on the boat or before I get murdered or whatever. A faithful Moor will be like, hey, hold on, that's Latif, man. Or the second one is a dirty Moor is going to realize it and say, hey, that's Latif. Let's get his ass. You know what I mean? Hang me upside down, all of that. But it is what it is. But all I ask is that you be the Moor to see Latif and say, hey, that European out of all them thousands right there, pull him out, man. Get him cleaned up. Get him some tea, man. Get him some nourishment or something. But I hope you enjoyed the demonstration, brothers and sisters. Again, practice religious tolerance. But if they're in your face speaking sideways, man, they ain't showing tolerance, man. And they're enemies. So again, let me catch you in front of me speaking sideways about Prophet Noble Ali, and I will pop off on you, man. You're not going to speak loosely like that because you won't do it with any other. I think this is a joke over here, man, because I really want to get this ingrained in your head. I file and I keep on record, man, a lot of people who speak bad about Noble Drew Ali. And when I come across you, man, it's going to be everything I got. So Islam. Behold the pale horse. A pale man, I walk beside the L's. A Lazarus, they raised me from the dead with leprosy smells. I'm a circle 7 spitter, big dipper, high self, lower self, little dipper, Ali $20 litter, like the boulder that rolls you over, grind you like Doja. Ain't no feeling like Noble Drew Ali's words when they hold you. Through the fire they won't scold you, transform into solar. Ali bloodline, divine plum hitter, Angola.
5 on the left, 2 on the right. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, freedom and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, and His holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, Islam.
As I spit this, GS Cujo's demonstrating in the big building. Oh, what the feeling when Allah shows who's his real children. 90 like pavilion, more subject, not civilian. You're tilling at the surface, but beneath you're worth millions. Behold the pale horse, so don't fight a lost force. They told you I was coming, but you ignoring the source. Shallow grave, call the floors, bull horn you like a Taurus. Trying to hide away the truth of what Allah brought forth for us. Divine honors to Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Behold the pale horse. AGS, like I always say, you upset an orphan, you upset the prophets. You upset the prophets, you anger Allah. You do know Latif means I come in peace, right? Islam.
5 on the left, 2 on the right.